Well, let's get going. Let's get going with our first email question. It comes in and it asks about personal injury. Now, if you have been injured by somebody else, should you wait to see how the insurance company handles things, or should you talk to an attorney immediately? I think I already know the answer to this question, but I need to hear you answer it, gentlemen.
Well, Carl and I
I'm not
disagree
sure if you
on
know the answer or not. I would say it depends on what the injury is and what the matter is. If it's a simple fender bender and you want to talk to him, I think that's perfectly all right. It's only when you get into a little bit of complicated issues involving a case of a certain level that you really need to go to a lawyer. But Wendell, I think you disagree with that.
I disagree a little bit with that. First of all, it's not going to cost you anything to go talk to a lawyer. So any advice you get is free. You might as well hear what the advice is. It may not be what you want to hear, but at least you got the advice. And you don't have to hire the lawyer when you go in to talk with them. You go in, you find out what your rights are. If you think you can handle it with the insurance company, have at it. If you can't, go ahead and sign up. But you got to keep in mind that insurance claims adjusters do this day in and day out all day long, and you probably never had a case before.
Yeah, okay. Again, I can't strongly disagree with that. I'm just saying that it does depend on the level of the injury. Now, for instance, just this morning, I met with a lady. She and a friend of hers were walking down the street, and they encountered three young men, three teenagers, who had a dog on a leash. It was an English setter. She's not typically a vicious dog. The friend wanted to pet the English setter, and the young man said that was fine. She could pet the English setter. And they reached down to pet this English setter, and the English setter bolted around the friend and jumped up and bit this lady in the face, requiring, 8 or 10 stitches. And she wanted to know if she had a case. And like most cases, when you bring them to a lawyer, if there's a question, the first answer is always going to be, well, it depends. Now, in this instance, the dog was on a leash. The dog was under control. She and her friend walked into that dog's space and wanted to pet the dog. Now, the answer I gave to her was, well, it depends on whether or not the dog had ever shown any vicious propensity prior to that. And if the dog has not shown a vicious propensity prior to that, there probably is not a case under Georgia law. I told her we would look into it. And just as a matter of course, if that happens, the dog has to be quarantined for a certain period of time to make sure it doesn't have rabies. And I said, we can check with the animal control people, see if any other claims have been made. We can talk with the neighbors. We can ask the insurance company or the homeowners for this lady. But in all likelihood, given the entirety of the facts and circumstances, she doesn't have a case. So, of course, we didn't charge her a fee, and we said we would look into it and let her know. And in all likelihood, we'll tell her we're sorry. In the future, stay away from strange dogs, but you don't have a case.